Hi, my name is Maria Langer, and I am a mostly solo cruiser in a 2019 Ranger Tug R29 CB, which I'm sitting in right now on the hard. And I mentioned in an earlier video in this series that it's a really big challenge for me to get these out every day, and it has been overwhelming for me, mostly because I'm master procrastinator, and also I've been pretty busy. But I'm trying to catch up a little bit now. So here is day 4. And I have notes. Day 4 was Tuesday, and I did not get much done, so this is going to probably be a short video. I started the day editing video, and I spent pretty much all morning doing that. And then around midday, I went to go see Project Hail Mary in IMAX nearby at a matinee, and that was great because the theater wasn't crowded and it's an amazing movie. So I kind of goofed off midday, and it took a lot longer than I expected. But in the afternoon, I had a very productive meeting with the guy who's in charge of the boatyard maintenance stuff. His name is Kyle. So Kyle came by, and together we looked at the boat. We looked at the different things that needed to be done. And I will try to run through these, and I should have some video to include of some of these things. The first thing was the bottom paint. The boat was last fully painted on the bottom before I bought it. The previous owner did it back in April 2022. I bought the boat in September 2022. So it had been freshly painted, and every time I've pulled it out of the water since it was painted, including when I was on the Great Loop, I was fully expecting to have to paint it. And the paint that the previous owner used was amazing, or is amazing, because it really didn't need painting. Last spring, we did get some touch-up paint done, but not very much. But as a result of that touch-up paint, the bottom of the boat, I'm talking about the black part now, the bottom of my boat is black. And the touch-up, because of the touch-ups, it looked kind of patchy. So I talked to the yard about it. It definitely needed at least some touching up. And I talked to Kyle about it and told him to give me an estimate of what it would cost to do the whole bottom. But in addition to the bottom paint, before they could even do that, there were 2 points of damage on the bottom. They're both related to what I call trailer rash. In other words, it happened on the trailer. Parts of the hull rubbed on parts of the trailer, and it caused some damage to the boat. Now, we're talking very tiny damage. Nothing, I mean, it wasn't penetrating or cracking or breaking or anything like that. It was just something noticeable. One of them was actually noticed by the diver, and the other one was noticed a little bit later on by the guy who actually was doing the work. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I needed to have that bottom repaired. So they would basically scrape all the paint off of it and then put some fiberglass and patch it up. And so that was a definite, had to be done. I also talked to him about the apparent size difference between the original prop, which was not on the boat, and the spare prop, which is on the boat. So there's a story here, and I can't remember if I told it in a previous video, so I'll go through it quickly. The boat's in a charter program. The very first charter guest last year dinged the prop. Now, the reason we know he dinged the prop was not because he told us, and honestly, he might not have even noticed, but every time the boat comes back from a charter, the charter company sends a diver down, and the diver inspects the entire bottom of the boat. In fact, the diver found the ding on the bottom of the boat that was actually caused by trailer rash, although we didn't know it at the time. Anyway, he notices that the prop has got some damage. So I drove the boat, and you couldn't really feel any difference in the boat. It wasn't so damaged that the boat was vibrating or anything like that, but the prop needed to be fixed. And of course, the charter company is going to pay for it, so I want it fixed. In order to do that, I needed to buy a spare prop because I didn't have one. The reason I didn't have one is because it cost $2,007, and I didn't want to spend that money if I didn't have to. So anyway, I called up Ranger Tug, found out what prop to buy, went online, saw the price, whatever, bought it, had it shipped, and the next time the diver went down, the diver pulled off the old prop, put on the new prop, put the zinc back on, and pulled that old prop, the original prop, out and handed it over to my mechanic, last year's mechanic. And the mechanic eventually put it into the inventory for my boat, so that when the mechanic and I parted ways at the end of last season, I got the prop back. Looked okay to me. So I didn't really give it a second glance. However, when Kyle saw it sitting on my swim platform, and I was telling him that I probably wanted it to be put back on because it looks slightly larger than the spare that I bought, he says, yes, but we'll have to get it fixed first. And I said, well, what are you talking about? And he pointed out a little bend in the prop that, seriously, I only have one photo of it, and you really can't even tell from the photo. I couldn't tell. We think that the charter guest who bent it might have hit a log. He definitely didn't hit a rock because the bend has got no rough edges on it. Long story short, and again, I'm getting ahead of myself because I really didn't find this out until Wednesday, but it turns out that my old mechanic never sent it to be repaired. He just put a damaged prop into inventory. So now it fell on me this year to get it fixed. The charter company's still paying for it, so that's not a big deal. But while it's getting fixed, I'll get the prop speed put back on from the prop shop. And then when it comes back from there, which hopefully will be Monday, they'll put it on the boat, take the old one off, and I'll have that as my spare. So that's the whole prop saga. The other things that they need to do is the zincs, which I've mentioned in numerous videos. The zincs need to be replaced. They're actually mostly not in bad condition, but they don't cost all that much, and I may as well just get them all replaced for the season. Kyle said that the boat should get into the water early next week. So I'm hoping it does, because I'm hoping to go home on Monday. Tuesday at the latest. I have some stuff to do at home before I come back. And I really would like to see the boat get in the water and run the engine, dump the waste tank, top off the fuel, start getting it really ready to go out for the season. So I needed to get in the water for that. And I had to say, I'm really tired of living up here on the hard. So that's basically a very productive meeting. After that, when he was gone and I needed to add some water to the system, the boat has a 45-gallon fresh water tank. That's the water that comes out of the sinks and also the shower, both showers, including the one on the swim platform. And I could tell I was running low on water, although I didn't even bother looking at the gauge because the gauge isn't really very accurate. I could tell just by how long the pump was running when I was running the water. So I ran the hose. I had to attach the hose inside of a hole full of spider webs and mud and muck. Attach the hose, run it to the boat. I had to put two hoses together with the filter and all that. And I topped off the tank, and that was good because now I've got enough water. 45 gallons. If I'm really careful, I can make 45 gallons last for about 2 weeks. But I don't really need to be that careful because I can always top it off again. So I know it'll last, though, at least a week. So that was done, too. That was another productive thing. The only other thing I did that you could say is productive is, again, something that's on that list I need to do for the charter company, and that is to test all the entertainment systems. This boat, believe it or not, has 2 televisions. It also has a stereo that takes CDs. The televisions, there's one in the main cabin here that actually folds up against the ceiling when it's not in use, and then I folded it down. And then the one in the bedroom, of course, in the front cabin is basically on the wall. So it's just in place all the time. Both of them have Roku Express devices on them. They're little tiny doodads. I've got them pretty much glued to the bottom or the top of the TV, and then they plug into the HDMI port on the TV, and they use the internet connection, whether it's from my cell phone or from the Starlink, to operate. So I tested both of those in the boat by watching TV. So I watched TV on Tuesday night, which I don't really watch very much TV. So all of that works. I've got it set up kind of neat through the Roku. It works like an Airbnb kind of. So when you get in the boat, you turn on the TV, it asks you to tell it how long you're staying on board. And then you can set it up for whatever channels you have subscriptions to. and put your passwords in, and when you leave, it deletes all your passwords off the TVs. So that's kind of good because I don't have to get Netflix subscriptions or anything like that for the guests. The guests got do their own thing. So that's about all I did. Try to make this video short. Let's see if I can put the B-roll in. And I will hopefully get the other videos recorded and out within the next couple of days, hopefully before I go home. So thanks again for watching. If you like the content, subscribe, click the like button, tell your friends, and thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Bye.